All right, go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to Unify's webinar on converting Oracle Forms applications to browser-based Java applications in Oracle ADF. This is your host, Matt Brunquell. And before we get started, I want to review a few housekeeping items. So for those of you new to Unify, we're a publicly traded software company that's been in business for over 30 years. And we're known for being the first to deliver a relational database in the Unix environment. Since then, we've delivered development software products that run across databases and platforms geared to building and modernizing business applications. And a business application developer who places a premium on productivity over low-level coding. So today, our business has expanded beyond database and development products into modernization solutions like the one you'll see in the demonstration today, as archiving and e-discovery. Encourage questions on the webinar. The way you do that is to use the Q&A button on your WebEx toolbar. It is a button with a question mark. There's also a chat button, but it makes it easier for Khalid and I to look in one panel for the questions to make sure we address all of them. Now, I mentioned Khalid, and that's Khalid Beg. He'll be providing the demonstration portion today. He's our Director of Migration Services, and he's been involved in both Oracle Forms upgrades as well as Oracle Form conversions of Java. And a long time ago, he actually programmed in Forms himself. So it's a great opportunity and a real treat to have someone with Khalid's background and experience on Oracle Forms who's worked on Java conversion projects demonstrating today. Now, let's go ahead and review the agenda. So the objective for today's webinar is to provide you with the information on converting Oracle Forms applications to browser-based applications in Oracle ADF. Now we'll start with an introduction that includes an overview of CipherSoft, and we'll provide a brief overview of Oracle ADF. Now it's a very expansive topic, so we're going to focus on the user interface components since today's webinar is about conversion to a browser-based application in ADF. But we'll look at the key considerations for the Java conversion in general. Now we'll follow this up with a demonstration so you can see how easy it is to convert an Oracle Forms application into Java. And it'll use ADF components for the user interface layer, and follow this by a Q&A session. So Soft is part of Unify Corporation and has over 30 years of experience in database development tools and application modernization. And Soft is a very established, very successful practice for modernizing Oracle Forms applications. We're a member of the Oracle Modernization Alliance, or OMA. And so for you that aren't familiar with OMA, it's an Oracle initiative to help customers modernize their applications and infrastructure. And Soft has been a member for almost the onset and has always been about modernizing the Oracle Forms, and is focused both on upgrades as well as conversions to Java. So talking about ADF, A stands for Application Development Framework, and it's Oracle's Java framework for building enterprise applications. And in order to support enterprise applications, it supports many different Java technologies and components. ADF is included with the Oracle Application Server license. However, ADF can be purchased or licensed separately to be deployed on other application servers. We don't have time to go into all the different Java technologies of ADF, but for today's webinar, we want to touch on ADF Faces, which is user interface components. It's a set of UI components for building rich user interfaces in a browser or thin client. The user interface or UI components have built-in properties, much like the UI components in Oracle Forms. Now, just a few component examples on this slide, but it's important to note that the number of components significantly expanded in ADF 11G. So for those of you that haven't looked at ADF 11G, just so the number of components went from approximately about 100 in ADF 10G to about 150 in ADF 11G. And as key, the properties were expanded on some of these components as well. And the reason I mention all of this, it's very important when you're trying to recreate the rich functionality of a client-server forms application in a thin client environment. Another thing, and you'll see that on the last bullet on the slide, is ADF Faces is built on the open standard of Java Server Faces, or JSF. So when you look at these ADF components, they're actually JSF or Server Faces components, but it'll enhance them with additional properties and things like that for building these user interface type of applications that you're used to on the Oracle Forms side. So about ADF for now, but looking at the key considerations on a conversion project, a migrated application should be as intuitive for the original developers to maintain as the new developers who have no experience in the technologies used to write the original software. So practically speaking, this means your vendor choice should provide a one-to-one conversion in the code as much as possible. In fact, the end users of the application need to be considered as well. So reproducing all of the functionality of the application is enough. It needs to behave similarly over environment in order to avoid retraining on the application. In applications with a large number of users, avoiding retraining can be a significant cost savings. But what we found, or our customers have found, is that when we do this like-for-like version, they found they can use the same scripts for testing the functionality as using in the Oracle Forms application. As a result, they find this approach much lower risk. Because you migrate the like-for-like first, you can use the same test scripts. It really helps the testing time, and as opposed to if you had rewritten this from scratch, changed the look and feel and the navigation, then it becomes much more difficult and tricky in terms of how do you test it to make sure it's achieved all of the same functionality. Graphic illustrates some of the keys to creating a path for the developers involved in a migration project, are the original Forms developer or Java developers. So in addition to producing clean Java code, keeping the file structure of the components and objects organized as they were in the Oracle Forms development environment provides a reference point both for the original Forms developers as well as the Java developers to follow. In particular, for Oracle Forms developers, this eases the learning curve into Java. In the previous slide, Oracle's Forms knowledge is rewarded in this type of conversion. Keeping the terminology, object, and method names and class hierarchy helps tremendously in reducing the learning curve for Oracle Forms programmers and makes a transition to Java as smooth as possible. However, as you look at this illustration and the text, what you see is that the generated application is 100% Java, or a Java EE application, and in generated architecture, the key concepts and fundamental principles of object-oriented programming can be identified. Well-known Java design patterns, as well as classes, inheritance, interfaces, objects, packages, abstract classes. I mean, I could go on and on for those that are used to object-oriented programming, in particular in Java. You know, the things like polymorphism, method overloading, Java types. All of this in the converted application, and this application can be maintained and extended in most Java IDEs. So the illustration shows just a few examples of that at the business logic layer, but we go into the architecture in more detail during the demo, and then we have a white paper available on architecture for the converted application. You know, it is a model view controller architecture. Now, what we'll do is we'll go into the demonstration portion, and we'll show the conversion of the application. Some key points to keep in mind during this demonstration is we're going to convert the Oracle Summit application. This is an Oracle application that they use. Some of you may be familiar with it, actually. They use it a lot in their training and for demo purposes. It won't be as complex as some of your applications, but it would have a lot of the characteristics you would expect to see in your complex application. So it has a menu, it has libraries, it has business logic, in addition to the forms presentation layer and cases that you're used to seeing. I'm going to do a full conversion. So, and what I mean by that is what you'll see for the converted app is the presentation layer, the business logic layer. The complete application will be converted. But you can just convert portions if you want. In fact, in some of the projects that we do or our customers do when they license the tool, is they'll do a full conversion, but then they may go back and revert just specific pieces. And we can go into why that is if people are interested in that. I'll show a like-for-like conversion with the presentation layer deployed in a browser, using the ADF components. And what we'll do is we'll review some of the Java code of the converted business logic, as well as at the presentation layer level as well for the ADF. Now what I'm going to do is turn this over to Khalid for the demo portion. Just give me a second and I'll make him the presenter, and I will also unmute him. Can you hear me?
I am.
Great. I just turned over control. I should have. It's passing it over to you right now.
Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are located. My name is Khalid. Basic thing that I would be showing here for the demo would be conversion process, how the deployment work, and how before and after of the application would look, like in presentation layer as well as on the Java side, PL SQL conversion to Java. You're able to see my desktop that I would be using for the demo purposes. So this application that we will be converting to Java today is called Summit application. That's provided by Oracle, and Oracle uses this application for their training purposes in Oracle Forms. It contains 3 forms, 2 libraries, and 1 menu. And basically, this is not like a complex application, but not even either a easy application. It's like we can categorize as an intermediate application that contains mostly all the components that Oracle Form normally uses. Like for example, it has a stack canvases, form calling another form, it has tree structure, it has master detail relationship, it has radio button and check boxes and table rows and all those things present in this application. We go through Oracle Form application just to show you like how this application looks, and then we can go from there. So first form calls the another form, and one form called the third form. That's the 3 forms that we are converting today, and we would be showing you all the components and how the conversion looks before and after and all those things. Conversion, basically, like conversion is the type of a conversion tool is as simple as extracting the zip file. So once you extract a zip file, the conversion tool will be set up for you. There would be separate folders that you have to configure, and for that you can see the documentation or you can get the training and all those things. But let me start the conversion tool first. So the main front end of the conversion tool is there are not too many things on the conversion tool as you normally see in a software, like providing options and this and that. Really, there are a few things that you have to input as a parameter, and then you would go from there. So first of all, I would go few of the conversion tool processes. Like the main process for conversion tool is what you want to convert. And if you are converting libraries, which are your PLL libraries, you can choose database PL SQL library conversion process. If you convert menu, you can select the menu module, and then same is for form modules. And last step would be is to convert the WAR file, which is the last, like which is saying Java EE module template generation. It will create the WAR file for you that you're able to deploy on any application server which is Java EE compliant. The second thing what you can provide is your package name, like you can have COM, or you are in UK, for example, or some other part you might not be using COM. You can use UK, you can use AU for Australia or something like that. The next option is company name, and the third option is application name. And obviously the presentation layer, there are two types of presentation layer that we support. One is called the plugin, which is based on the on your plugin processes, but and the other is like the Java server faces, like which are Oracle ADF Java Service JSF files. Encoding, like if you are using a Chinese conversion or some other conversion, Hebrew or Arabic, you can use the correct encode, and it will convert the Java classes and produce the ADF files accordingly. Input is where all the modules will be present. Output where all the Java and ADF files would go. The last thing is your database connection. This connection is only required for reference purposes. Like in Oracle form, what you can do is you can call Oracle database package or procedure or function. In procedure, you can pass like parameters. And for that purposes, what we do when we are converting into Java, we have to find out what those parameters are. Like, are they var2, date, or number, or something like that. And depending on those data type, we create the proper Java data type. For example, init and string and double and whatever that case may be. Not anything on the database. We only do our references. Check for example, I gave you an example. Or we just read whatever the data types are there, or argument passed to the procedure or other things. What I'm going to do is start conversion of the libraries, because this Summit application has two libraries, and since libraries do not have any presentation layer, you would not be able to select like an ADF or plugin. You can only select basically the libraries that you want to convert. So I'm going to select both the ones and then move them to the right side for conversion purposes. Like two libraries selected, and then you moved it on the right side for conversion. An output folder where the conversion will go, and this is the output folder right here. We have to make sure it is empty to start with, and then we'll do a convert process. A small library, like number of lines of code in these libraries are about maybe 700 to 800 lines of code. We estimate like about 1,000 lines of code. It would take about a minute to convert. 10,000 lines, it would take about like a 5 to 6 minutes or less, or a little bit more. The next step after the conversion library, we would go and then convert the menus. There's only one menu, so I would say convert the menu. And here you would see that the presentation layer option comes back. So what I do is select the menu, which is your Summit. To select what presentation layer you have to do. When version is running on the menus, it is doing two passes. The first pass is to extract all the PL SQL logic and convert into Java classes. The second pass is to check the menu presentation, like the menu option, the main menu option, then the sub menu options, and these are presentation and convert into JSF files or JSPF files basically, and then go from there. I'm gonna select like 11G my ADF faces option. and press conversion tool. And you would notice that we are running a conversion, the log file that appears at the end of the process. The file is kept for every day. So for example, like down the road, like in 2 months time, when you are doing conversion and all those things, you want to go back and see what you have done like 2 months back, then you can go to that particular log file of that day and then open it into in any browser like Explorer or Firefox, and you would be able to see all the logs for that particular day, where you say what you converted and if there were any warnings, there were any exceptions, or there were any errors or something like that. So log files are kept for that purpose. The next step would be is to convert the forms modules, and again I'm going to select all the 3 modules. One is called customer, orders, pick, on the right side, make the right presentation layer and press the convert button. There is one more thing in this conversion tool, or it can be a separate part, and I will talk about that in a minute. But this is a log file that I was checking that if it is all okay, and it converted fine. So I would mention here, and maybe Matt will discuss it later a little bit more in detail. This analyzer, what analyzer does. Analyzer we have added as a part of the conversion tool, or it can be purchased or licensed as a separate tool also. Analyzer actually runs on your modules like Oracle Form and menus and libraries, and it gives you some estimation, and also like if there are any things might not be able to convert, it will give all those reports there. For example, go-to statement. Oracle Form PL SQL has a go-to statement, one-to-one migration to go-to statement to Java. So what it will highlight those things, and it will say there are these forms or these libraries or this code. That is the go-to statement, and then that's to be looked into either before the conversion or after the conversion. So other can do those things for you basically. The conversion is done. The last thing we would do is normally is to create the WAR file, and that's the WAR file we would deploy. And as I mentioned, like it can be deployed on any Java EE application server. For this exercise, for this demo, we were using Tomcat as our base application server to deploy here, because it is a lightweight application server sort of, and we use internally for our development as well as for other things also. So here again, like few options to choose. One is obviously like your ADF. What is the main form? In most of the application, there is a main form that drives the rest of the application. So in this case, the main form here is customers. That calls the order form, and order form calls the last form, which is pick form. Then select is your compile Java option, and if you select this, and the converted code is all clean, and it will create the classes for you, and then you can take that WAR file and deploy, and it should be able to run. But if any compile errors, then you have to go back and then compile the classes, Java classes separately. So here what I'm going to do is select it, right options, and then say generate. I'm able to create. This is the compilation process going on. If it compiles cleanly, then obviously we will get the right successful version. Once the compilation is done, you will see that it creates the WAR file right here. And then what you can do as a next step. So first step is your conversion. You come modules, you get the WAR file, and then once the first step is done, the next phase would be is to deploy the application. And deploying the application is as simple like different application server. It is little bit different processes. And we have already tried on WebSphere, IBM, Oracle Middle Fusionware, application server 10G, and Tomcat and JBoss and other application servers. and there are steps to deploy those things. So I'm going to take this WAR file, copy it. This is a web apps under Tomcat. I'm going to remove the previous one. We don't need that one though. I'm going to paste it right here. And the deployment on Tomcat is as simple as starting the starting the server, like Tomcat server. So to start it, and you would see that it will extract and deploy the application. This is to run the application once the deployment is done. Open a browser and give the URL to run it. So it gives me the login screen as the first step. And login screen, you normally get, like you can bypass the login screen if you want to, if you provide the username password internally for the application, and it will bypass as an Oracle form. If in Oracle form, you can also, like, if you don't provide the username password, it will give you the login screen where you can log in with username, password, and database which you want to connect to. The same thing is in here. So username is here is Summit. What is Summit? I don't want to provide any database because it's only one database behind the scene at this time for this application, but you might different databases like development and testing and production. So in that case, you have to provide the right database name here to connect to that database. So once it will open the customers form, because that's the form we gave in that thing. When we were doing the template WAR file, we gave the customers form as the first form, and it appears like as the form, and this customer form will drive REST application by opening other two forms like order and pick form. I'm going to the left side Oracle application, so you can see like how it looks before and how it looks after the current. Like as Matt was mentioning, it's a like-to-like conversion. So whatever you have seen in Oracle form, it will be converted into ADF the same way. The only thing is the component will look a little bit different because we are using a ADF JSF component. So the tab would not be like the same rectangular tab. It might be a little bit like a Windows sort of a tab. But the rest of the functionality should work the same way as it was running in Oracle form. So it decreases the testing time. You don't have to write a new test script. You don't have to train your users with the new application that is converted into ADF. They can use the same test script. They can use the same function keys. They can use all those methods that they were using before for testing the application in the new converted application. And here this tree structure is the master of this block on the top, and this top is the master of the block at the bottom. So if you change this one here, you will see that it changes this and it changes right here also. The same if you change here, there is a trigger which says like that if tree node has changed, then treat the master detailed relationship and display the records accordingly. So if in billing, for example, there is a list of value here, you can display this list of value here. The list of value can be displayed the same way as you can see in Oracle form. Then there is other buttons that you can use as in Oracle form. Or the triggers are firing in the same sequence as they were firing in Oracle form. Like for example, if I say select by sales representative, then what it will do, it will fire a trigger which is called when list changes, and it will change the order of the tree structure. So if I go here back, you can see that changes the same thing. Like if I select this one, it will show three records right here the same way. Someone will change the bottom record, which is of this master, and it goes that. So I actually open the next form, which is your order form. If I double click this one, it is again a mouse double click triggers, and it calls the order form passing the parameters properly. if I go back here, I select this one, it opens like this way. See the look and feel, the radio buttons, the check boxes, most of the components would be same as in Oracle form that you were using before in Oracle form. You can use the same one in ADF components. There is a canvas right here. That here help, like the stack canvas here. Again, like colors or the font sizes and all those things can be controlled through this file in ADF, which is called a skin file. In a form you used to have like templates or visual attributes or property classes. The same, you can use the CSS file to accomplish the same that you were doing before. Dynamically, you can image on and image off. You can use those ones. There is no image on this one, so there is nothing in here, but there is an image on this one, so it will show the image right here. And the last that I would like to show here is the pick form that you can see here, that you can for example move it on the right side, this one, and then if you want to move all, you can press this button, or you can move them back here. The same in this one, you can move this one.
I can go into the code now, Khalid.
Yes, I'm just going there. So exit this out. The next, after the conversion, obviously we do deployment and running, and then I'm going to show it to you before and after code. So first, this is an Oracle form that is you are seeing on Oracle Form Builder, and you can see like customer form, and customer has triggers at the form level and blocks on the block level, and there are my triggers at the block level, for example, in this case, and there are items in this block. So the same thing you can do in JDeveloper. I've already deployed this application also in JDeveloper, and I'm going to show you, like here, if you see here, there is form and the sports code. These two things are coming from the same place which I was showing you before, like right here, a name. Like for example, if you go in form here, there's com and a sports code and submit as an application. So submit will go as an application name. This submit will carry all the forms. Like we converted 3 forms, so all these 3 forms are right here. And then you can have like libraries. Libraries will have those 2 libraries which we converted. And then menus have like the main submit menu application. So go in customers, for example, the hierarchy we have set is about the same as in Oracle form. Like form has form level triggers, program units, and other objects like alerts and other things, and also the block. The same thing we have done in here. Like the form level triggers will all go in the main file, which is called customer.java. And if you see right here on this side, you can write here, define right as the alerts are defined in Oracle form. For example, if you go in delete alert, you can it is saying delete alert and caution and button. So the same thing is defined right here. Like how there is a delete alert, it is a caution. There are 2 buttons. One is yes and no. The default button is the button 1. What is the text of the alert and alert name? Defined in this file is all form level triggers. So if you notice that the name of the triggers are exactly the same as in Oracle form, except we have Java is those names, like we are using Java standard. That means we have taken underscore and dashes out, and I'm using those ones. So if I go, for example, like right in this pre-form, there is one line which is saying default value of this customer ID will be null. The same thing here we are doing right here. See that this default value is the same built-in name as Oracle form was using, except that we have taken the underscore out. So naming convention is exactly what Oracle form used to. So someone who is moving from Oracle forms to Java would not know too much about what these built-ins are and all those things. But who is new in this application, like CipherSoft Composer, and never used Oracle form before, they might have to learn these built-ins and then understand what these built-ins are, and again that becomes the part of training and documentation. When was the same thing, when instance is all here, so you can see that this is exactly the same way. Like the comments are carried over the same way. All the comments, if there are comments in Oracle form, they would be carried over here. The same thing will be used. And the customer folder, there are some more folders here, and each present the blocks. So if you see, like, there is a control block, there is a S customer block. These are all representative here. Like, and under each block, you will see items are defined. So and then at this level again, there is a file with the block name of Java that contains the block level triggers, like on populate detail. Right here, there is an on populate detail. So whatever it is doing, that is right here as the conversion. So it is one-to-one conversion as was defined before in the PowerPoint presentation by Matt. So we normally do. So I thought we are open for question unless they want to see something else also.
Anything, you want to show anything from the presentation layer?
Yes, I can show that too also very quickly.
Before we go into the questions, although I see people are posting questions already, so.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna quickly again, like when you deploy application in a JDeveloper, an ADF application, you should be able to set up in a way that you can do like the GUI change. Like for example, there is a canvas right here. If you miss here, different functionalities. So if I go in here, for example, shortage on this page, but I'll just try to manage it. So if you see, this is the block right here, which is called customer tab canvas tree. It is a stack canvas. Right, this one. So you would be able to see all the properties as you would see like same way in Oracle form. So it is a JDeveloper can provide you the functionality to change the canvases, fields, and do whatever you want to do as you were doing in Oracle form before. Because the ADF files we are creating for presentation layer is JDeveloper compliant files. When you open any of the JSF compliant file, you would be able to see that canvas right there and then. Okay, I'm ready for questions if there are any.
All right, so what we'll do now is we'll open it up for questions, and when you do that is go ahead and post question with the question mark tab, and I'm going to go back to the Q&A tab here so I can start going through these. One second. Okay, let me enlarge this if I can, and we'll go through these. Oh, first question. Matt, will this presentation be recorded because I would like to show my colleagues? The answer to that is yes, we are recording it, and we will make the recording available. In fact, you can go to our website within a day or two, 1 or 2 business days, we'll have available as a recorded webinar. Also, I might be able to send it to you as a link via email. Just follow up with me. We'll provide contact information at the end, or you can get in your Microsoft representative for your region will get in touch with you and make sure you get that. Okay, question. Testing was mentioned earlier. Does code generation include unit tests for starting further development immediately after migration? Do you want to comment on that, or you want me to?
If George is available, I'm going to ask him to comment on this one, unit testing.
George isn't on audio, so I'm not sure that he can even hear us. If he can, we'll have him text us, and we can respond on that. I guess I'll say in general is that we provide a specific testing functionality, if you will, or a testing tool. That is the beauty of, because this is Java, you can use whatever testing tools and processes that you use for your Java applications and incorporate that with this. Now, there are some tags and things that we do put in the code that makes it easier for testing when triggers fire and things like that. That does make it very easy to do testing. But I couldn't go into the specifics on that. We may have to follow up with you if you want more information on that. You want to add to that, Khalid?
I'm okay, and George just came in, so he can provide some more information on that.
Oh, okay.
So the answer what you provided is correct. Basically, we convert the Oracle Forms application as one-to-one, so the user interface will be exactly the same. As a result, you will be able to use your old test cases that you had, and you can use whether you had with load runner or other automated testing tools, you will be able to run.
Yeah, I do want to and by the way, just so you know, that was George Burlak, who is our Director of Product Development for Composer CipherSoft solution here. As I had mentioned in the presentation, what we see a lot of customers do, at least from testing the business functionality and the user acceptance testing, is they end up using the same test scripts and processes that they use on the Oracle Forms apps. And they can do that because this is a like-for-like migration. Question, what about the Oracle reports? So this tool does not do automated conversion of the reports. Our customers do one of two things. Either, number one, they'll continue to call the Oracle reports from the converted Java application, and that can be easily done. The second thing that we see do, they have some other reporting solution that they want to go to, that they've standardized on or that they want to standardize on. So we've seen customers go to Oracle's BI, the business intelligence. We've seen some go to Crystal. We've seen some go to Cognos and Business Objects. And, we have some that are looking at going to actually a Java reporting solution like Jasper. But in the second option, when you go to another reporting solution, you end up having to rewrite the reports. There is no automated conversion of the reports out there. We have seen, though, some utilities out there that assist with reports. For example, Oracle has one for BI, for taking Oracle reports to BI. We actually worked with a customer on a project with that. But what we found is that utility are somewhat helpful. If your reports have any amount of business logic in them, they have to be rewritten. There aren't any utilities that automate the conversion of the reports as what you see with this solution for all the other parts of an Oracle Forms application. Next question. I know you were using JDeveloper for IDE. Does this support other Java IDEs? The answer to that is yes. It'll support most Java IDEs because, as you saw, these are they're Java files. In a Java EE application, we have customers who've used also RAD, the Rational Application Developer IDE, which is part of IBM now as well. And I think we've seen some other ones as well. We use JDeveloper internally, and when we do projects, we use JDeveloper. Joe, we offer two options. One is we convert the forms as a service for you, and then deliver the converted application to you, including all of the source. Or you can license the tool, go through training, and do the conversion yourself. bring this up in relation to this question is, we'll use JDeveloper internally when we do the conversion as a service, but we'll even do that and turn this over to a customer and they're using a different Java IDE for, when they have it and are going to maintain it and extend it moving forward. Questions? So does this, the automated conversion convert? Are there things it doesn't convert? That is yes, there are some things that it will not convert automatically. What we typically see in a project is that it's going to convert 90% of the Oracle Forms application. But there are things that it will flag for view and won't convert automatically. And actually, Khalid had kind of touched on this, something called the analyzer. Run the form through, and it will actually flag occurrences of commands that it won't convert automatically that need to be reviewed. And we do that actually as part of the conversion process, very early in the conversion process, before doing converting, so that you know what kind of effort will be involved outside of the automated migration. Some examples, and the reason why that is in some cases there are things that you shouldn't convert automatically, even if you could, as you want to review and make some decisions because you're moving typically from a client-server application and architecture to an interior Java browser-based architecture. And so you want to make some decisions on some things, but also there are commands that we just don't convert automatically because there's simply not a one-to-one correspondence in Java. One example of that is go-to statements. We found some Oracle Forms applications have made gratuitous use of go-tos, and you kind of look and see how are those being used. And in some cases, they're used for error handling, for example. And those would be handled over on the Java side. You would those and convert them into try-catch statements for error handling, just as one type of example. But there are things like that. We have a white paper called The Completeness of the Conversion, which provides different types of examples of things that don't convert automatically or are flagged by the analyzer. What that analyzer process is that, in some cases, it's flagged things and you're like, okay, these are things that need to be handled after the automated conversion. But in cases, it's things that you can do in your Oracle Forms app prior to the conversion to deal with, so that more gets automatically converted, depending on what it is. And that's something that we can go over. By the way, when we do the conversion as a service, we include as part of the estimate, because we have that analyzer, in this stuff that's not automatically converted, we would include as part of the conversion services handling that, so you have a conversion application that is ready to deploy for your use acceptance testing and into your production environment. Question. Is there cost for the conversion tool? Or if not, how is it calculated? The answer to that is yes. If, as mentioned, there's two options for cleaning this out. One is where we perform it as a service. We do it as a service. It's a fixed price project. And so run it through the analyzer, and we would provide you, here's a fixed price cost for us to do the conversion, and here's what we deliver and all of that. And if you're interested, we have a sample SOW, statement of work, that shows here's what all we do. And in that case, it'll just depend on, run it through the analyzer, and then we'll let here's how much effort it will take for us to complete the conversion. It'll depend on the number of forms and libraries and the complexity of one of those. When you license it as a tool, when you do the conversion, you can license the tool to do the conversion yourself. There's just a flat rate per form to be converted. So let's say you have 100 forms. Here's the price per form for the tool, and regardless of how complex or easy each one of those are, and that price. Plus, there's a 4 to 5 day training course as well. There's a price for that. But if you need pricing, we can get the specifics for you depending on your region, just getting you in touch with your Unify CipherSoft representative. Next question. Oh boy, this might be English as a second language here. Does the effort wanted another architecture? I think what the question is there is, what you see with the converted application, obviously we're able to create a like-for-like conversion, and it's all standard Java, and it's a model view controller architecture. But if you have some of your own frameworks that you're using and things like that, you can do some integration of this in with those frameworks. It just depends on which frames and standards and what you're trying to do. Depending on that, it can be very little effort or it can be a lot of effort, but it can be done because this is a Java application and a model view controller architecture. So, the presentation layer has been separated from the business logic and, from the data access or persistence layer. So, there are things you can do to integrate this in with your standards and processes. I will say this, at a persistence level layer, sometimes we get questions about, well, can we integrate this in with Hibernate or TopLink? The short answer to that is technically, yes, that can be done. In terms of using a different persistence level framework, it would be a very big technical effort to do. And part of what you run into is that those other persistence layers don't have all the capabilities or properties, if you will, that an Oracle Forms application is expecting when it's grabbing objects from the database. Convert the form to TXT files first before we convert the form FE source file to ADF. For that, Halid, I've been answering all the questions so far. I should let you answer some of these.
That's a requirement for one big reason, that the pre-part we are using for conversion requires the text file to be read and then convert into Java. The second is we don't want to go with the proprietary FMBs, which are Oracle binary files. There are a few APIs present to read those FMBs, but those APIs are changing every time the new release of Oracle Form is coming in the market. So then we went with the text file, because text file would be created the same way, whichever version that might be. It can be like Form version 4.55 or 6, 9, 10G, 11G. The text files are created exactly the same way, so we would be able to convert them one time rather than changing the conversion tool every time the new release comes in.
Thank you. Question. Do option to evaluate the product and convert a handful of forms, maybe 60 or 90-day demo version. A 60 or 90-day demo version, and why is, once you convert these forms, I mean, when you have the tool and you convert the forms, you have all of the source code and the charted source code. Plus, if you're trained on the product, you would spend a lot of the time kind of figuring it out a little bit without going through training. But we do have some options for you. It is very expected and very typical to want to see some samples of how this would convert some of your code. So we do offer a couple different options there. One is sample code conversion, what we call an SCC. If you provide us a form, we'll take a day, we'll spend one day to convert it for you at no charge, and they'll review that conversion with you via WebEx, and then give you that converted code to review on your own as well, once we've reviewed it with you and shown you how to navigate through it. And if you give us a very complex form, we will be able to get it completely running in one day. So it just depends on what you're trying to do, what you want to see. If you're just wanting to review the converted code, no matter what size you give us, we can put it in a day and review that code with you. You just wouldn't be able to see it up and running. If you had a simple form, and by simple form I mean one that's less than 500 kilobytes in size, there's a very good chance we could get it up and running in that one day. But the bottom line is we'll spend one day at no charge converting one of your forms and view that the results of that with you. Now you need to see your forms up and running, or some handful of forms up and running. What I recommend is the second option, which is a proof of concept. And what I do is sit down with you and see what do you need to see running in the proof of concept, and we would scope out the effort involved to get that up and running, or the portion of those forms up and running that you want to see. And we would want to scope it out to something that was less than 10 business days to work on, and would charge accordingly for the number of days spend on that proof of concept. So we have actual checklists that explain each of those options in terms of what we deliver, what we did, a checklist of what you would have to provide in order for us to do that. But that's something that we do very commonly in all of these projects, whether you end up licensing the tool to do it yourself or end up contracting us as a fixed price project service. Questions we have, and we're actually at 9 o'clock, so I thought we'd go ahead and wrap this up. Khalid, George, and I, yes?
You can also explain the source code for the product itself, if on the purchase of license or whatever that we normally do.
We'll follow up with folks that have questions about the pricing and all of that.
Okay.
I think I mentioned it before, but whether you license the tool or you do this as a service, you end up getting all of the source code of the converted application. So there's no dependency on us. Once we have the converted application, there's no dependency on us for libraries or anything like that. All of the source code is provided. Anything to lead before I close it out?
No, okay. Thanks very much.
So, Khalid, George, and I want to thank you for taking the webinar today. We hope you found it of value. Certainly appreciate your interest. And, again, we'll have this available for you in the recorded version within the next 1 or 2 business days on our website, which is www.cyphersoftinc.com. And when you exit the webinar, you get a little 30-second survey screen. Let me know what you thought. If you liked what you saw, is it what you expected? If there are specific topics you'd like to see covered in our next webinar, we try and do these about every other month. Let us know. We use those suggestions and input to drive these topics. The last webinar we did was in January, and there was a lot of interest in the ADF, so that's why we did this ADF one this month. So if there are specific things you'd like to do, let us know, or if you want to be contacted by a Unify CipherSoft representative. Have a great day.